Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before I get started with my review of Wonder Woman 1984, I kind of just wanted to acknowledge the fact that I haven't uploaded in a really long time. I think it's been like almost a year, and just really sorry about that to my 10 subscribers. Basically, long story short, I was a bit busy, but now I am back and I'm going to be uploading way more frequently. I'm going to come up with a schedule. I'm not quite sure of the schedule just yet, but I am going to stick with one and make sure that this channel is a priority, and I'm going to kind of talk to you guys more. So yeah, thank you for watching, and let's get started with the review. So today I'm going to be reviewing Wonder Woman 1984, which was directed by Patty Jenkins and stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal. So this movie follows the events after Wonder Woman, well, decades after the first Wonder Woman. We find Gal's Diana Prince working at a museum in DC, and our girl is down bad. She is very lonely. She misses Steve. She doesn't really have any friends or family in DC, and she just lives this really lonely, solitary life for decades now, just kind of remembering the love of her life. And then all of a sudden, her and two other people in the movie with very bad intentions discover a rock that can grant them anything they want in the world. And of course, chaos ensues after that. Do I like this movie? Honestly, yes, I do, but I don't think for the same reasons as everyone else does. While I definitely agree that this movie lacks memorable characters and memorable action set pieces and locations like the Themyscira, I actually really appreciate this simple yet powerful approach to storytelling, and I feel like this movie really understands humanity and treats everybody in the movie with the grace and mercy due to them because they're human. So let's talk about some of the things I do like, and the first thing is the very beginning. We get to a taste of Themyscira again, and it remains a beautiful, idyllic place. It was great to see Robin Wright's Antiope again, even though we don't see her for that long, and I'll talk about that more later. But yeah, it was just really cool to see all these really powerful Amazonians together again. And even though it was just for a few minutes, it just kind of really reminds you of how beautiful this folklore really is. And the third thing I like definitely was Pedro Pascal's performance in this. I feel like he's the only person that came to work knowing that he was working on a superhero film and then performing accordingly. I feel like there was some criticism that his performance was over the top, but I really don't think so. I feel like, above all else, superhero movies are supposed to be fun, right? Like, it's just this really absurd, fantastical world, and I think it's okay if your performance matches that absurdity and fantastical nature while also still holding on to good acting techniques, and I think Pedro really did that. He is playing a character that turns into a wish granting stone. I think it makes perfect sense that he kind of plays this really sweaty, fast talking, angry, vengeful person because he just has all this power built up inside his body and is just like kind of constantly coming out within his performance. I think if it was a tamer performance, we wouldn't really understand exactly what he's dealing with. He's a man literally drunk with power, and I think his really kind of erratic and larger than life performance really kind of clarified of what his character is and what he's doing. I feel like if he looked insane on screen, it's because everyone else around him is not matching his energy. He's at a 10 at all times and everyone else is at a 4, which is something else I want to talk about. But I actually think he did a really good job. I think superhero movies are just, they're silly, and I think your performance can sort of match that and it still be actually really good and fun to watch on screen. I actually really enjoy the simplicity of this plot as well. It's really just exploring the question of, well, what if you were able to be granted, what if you were granted everything you have ever wished for, you've ever wanted, what would happen? And obviously it would not be a great idea, and I think that this movie does a really good job exploring that, and I really just like that really simplistic message that it's not always the right thing to get what you want, that sometimes that can lead to ruin, that can lead to destruction. And I really just kind of want to get back to comic books having a really simple message. I feel like there's a lot of comic movies that have such convoluted plots. There are plots within a plot within a plot. There's 30 million storylines, and oftentimes I'm just like, I have a vague understanding of what's going on, but I don't really know what's going on. And I think Wonder Woman was pretty easy to follow and still had a pretty good message for our world. I do agree that this movie didn't really feel like a book. It felt like more of a chapter in a book, in regards to its simplicity and kind of just its unevenness. But I think a movie kind of having a really simple, singular plot is not necessarily a bad thing. And the last thing I really liked about it is I enjoy how much this movie cares about people, all people, including the villains in this movie. I'm gonna spoil the end for you here, but I was like fully expecting the two villains. The two villains, by the way, are Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord. He's pretty much an oil tycoon that is just wanting more and more power. And the second villain is Kristen Wiig's Barbara Minerva, which is this really nerdy but incredibly smart geologist who works with Diana, and she has a lot of like self-esteem issues and all that, and pretty much she wishes on the stone that she can become just as cool as Diana, but she doesn't know, of course, that Diana has powers, and so she becomes super powered. And yeah, she just becomes also drunk with power herself and not wanting to give up this newfound confidence that she has. And in this movie, like most superhero movies, the villains die at the end, and I was fully expecting both of them to die this, bloody, brutal death, but that didn't happen. With Barbara, after this intense fight, Diana's trying to kind of plead to her humanity the whole time, saying that you wishing to be somebody else other than you're not is not actually going to make you happy. You're destroying the people around you, blah, 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 blah. Trying to get her to understand that this isn't right so that she can stop on her own. And of course, Barbara doesn't really get it right away. And so Wonder Woman, rather than kill her, which is like what I was expecting her to do, she actually kind of knocks her unconscious and gets her to dry land after their fight. The same thing happens with Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord. You think that he's going to die at the end, but pretty much with some kind of sleight of hand, Diana makes him see the truth about what he's doing, that it's very irresponsible and dangerous and destructive to kind of get everything that you want right away and kind of satisfy every impulse that you have, that won't actually bring you happiness and joy in this life. And he comes to the conclusion that what he was doing is wrong on his own, and he just stops. And I think that was really cool. I think that that's not a message we see a lot in comic book heroes. I think that as soon as somebody kind of is in the way of a hero, they like immediately die. And I just really like this approach that people are complicated, and lots of people who are doing poor things or kind of hurt themselves, as the movie demonstrates. And I really like that this kind of took the time to understand people rather than immediately kill them so the heroes can look good. Now, unfortunately, here are the bad parts. Nothing about this movie is really memorable. There are no great characters, there are no great action set pieces, no really great scenes that stick out either. It is kind of a movie that is just there, but it's not enjoyable. My favorite part of the first Wonder Woman was them spending time in Themyscira. Because of the plot line, we don't really get to spend a lot of time in Themyscira anymore because of where Diana is. But this movie, I think, knew that a lot of people really enjoyed Themyscira, so what they did was give us 10 minutes in the beginning of the movie in Themyscira. Like, all the women are competing in this like X Games competition, and the young Diana is competing along with the women. And it was really cool, but it went on for way too long, and there really was no purpose in that scene. In fact, the only purpose in the scene was to show that Diana was once warned about the dangers of cheating and cutting corners in life and how bad that can be, which is what she ends up doing later in the movies when she brings Steve back to life, well, a version of him back to life. Another con is the acting. I think Gal Gadot looks exactly like how you would want Wonder Woman to look. She's just like absurdly stunning and tall and, you know, powerful looking. She definitely has the look, but her acting really does not do anything for me. I don't really think she's that great of an actor in general, but this movie really just also did not change my mind about her. It honestly felt like the check for this movie cleared way before they started filming, and she just came because she had to. I just did not feel like she was trying even a little bit. There's some green screen acting that's happening there where she is zipping through the air or fighting bad guys, and her facial expression is like not moving at all. And it's also the same thing with Kristen Wiig. When it was announced that she was going to be a villain in this movie, I was really excited. I think she is a versatile actor. I think I was waiting for her to kind of play this edgier, meaner character. And I think she also had a really weird interpretation on Barbara. I think she played her as if she was a teenager, and it wasn't necessary. I get that she's like a grown woman dealing with low self-esteem issues, but it felt like she was patronizing like her own character. She was like kind of playing her as if she's like a young girl. And also maybe it's comic book lore, so I guess I can't complain about that. But she's like a really accomplished geologist, and like her biggest wish in life was to be cool like her coworker. And Chris Pine's performance is empty, and maybe that's on purpose because his character is like not really here, but still it was a performance that didn't really do anything for me. Do I recommend this movie? I actually do. I think if you really enjoyed the first one, I think this is maybe not a worthy sequel, but I think you'll still have a really good time enjoying this movie as much as you enjoyed the first. And I was able to watch this movie how the filmmakers intended. It was on a huge screen with surround sound, making you deaf, and I think it really heightened my experience of the movie. It felt a lot more fun watching it on a big screen rather than like my 9-inch Dell laptop. I think that really heightened my experience in watching this movie. It was infinitely more fun watching it on a huge screen with surround sound than on my 9-inch Dell laptop. But I do think that if you are a fan of Wonder Woman, you should give it a watch. I know it's not going to be the last movie, and hopefully the third one is a lot better. But yeah, that's all I have for you today, and I will see you guys later.